Mate Protocol Zeta 9. Dr. Aiden Locke had always considered himself a man of science, not romance. As a xenoanthropologist stationed aboard the Unity Spire, a Concord diplomatic vessel orbiting the edge of human-controlled space, he had spent years studying alien languages, customs, and biology. He had not, however, studied how to respond when an alien 2 feet tall, with translucent wings and opalescent skin, looked him straight in the eyes and declared, "Human, you've been assigned a lover, and it's me." There was a pause. Aiden blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" The tiny alien stood with an expression of absolute pride, her large lavender eyes shimmering like twin galaxies. Her voice, chirpy and melodic, carried a warm hum through the translator embedded in his collar. "I am Qilari of the Qilari nesting caste. The Concord matched us under Mate Protocol Zeta 9. We are a diplomatic pair bond. You are my human. I am your chosen companion." Aiden opened his mouth, closed it again, then frowned and glanced over his datapad. There it was. Assignment: Mate Protocol Zeta 9. Status: Initiated. "Wait. I thought this was a cultural exchange program," he muttered, flipping through the footnotes. "Not a mating ritual." Qilari fluttered upward, wings buzzing faintly as she hovered near his face, entirely undeterred. For Qilari, cultural exchange and emotional bonding are the same. "We do not simulate affection. We are affection. You must have done something impressive to earn me." Aiden exhaled. "This has to be a mistake." "No mistake," she said, tapping his chest gently with a glowing fingertip. "You were selected by your own diplomatic corps. Your psychological profile scored highest in adaptive empathy and low xenophobia. Your scent is tolerable." He took a step back. "That's good. It's rare. Many humans smell of fear and processed sugars. You, however, smell of ink and night air." He had no idea what that meant. The room they stood in, a softly lit diplomatic suite, felt suddenly smaller. Aiden turned, trying to process the situation. He'd expected a tour guide or a cultural liaison. Instead, the Concord had assigned him what seemed to be a literal alien girlfriend. "How exactly does this program work?" he asked slowly. Qilari landed gracefully on the back of a chair. "We are to cohabitate, engage in daily emotional rapport, and share 3 culturally significant experiences within 1 standard week. If bonding progresses, we may proceed to a ritual fusion or its human equivalent. I believe you call it kissing." Aiden choked on air. "You're joking," he said. "I never joke," she replied with a completely serious face. "Joking is for the Vrithka. They have teeth on their tongues. Very amusing." Aiden rubbed his temples. "Okay. Let's just slow down. I appreciate the cultural importance of this arrangement, but humans don't usually form romantic partnerships based on bureaucratic assignments. We date. We get to know each other. We waste time with uncertainty," she finished for him. "Yes. I've read the files. Qilari form resonance bonds based on emotional clarity and shared life sparks. I have reviewed your research, watched your lectures. You are curious, kind, and surprisingly well-balanced for a mammal. I chose you as soon as I saw your profile." "You chose me?" "Of course. It's not a random lottery. I volunteered. I wanted someone interesting." She paused, her antennae flicking thoughtfully. "I also find your ears amusing. They wiggle when you're agitated." Aiden sighed. This was going to be complicated. Still, even through the confusion, part of him was intrigued. Qilari's presence was unlike anything he'd encountered in decades of study. She was sharp, observant, and utterly unfiltered. Where other species had regarded him as a curiosity or a representative of humanity's political weight, she saw him as Aiden, and had apparently decided that was enough. He looked down at the tiny alien now carefully rearranging the room's cushions into what looked like a nest. Her wings caught the light in shifting colors. Her smile, alien but undeniably genuine, made something inside him soften. He didn't believe in fate. But maybe, just maybe, the universe had a sense of humor. "Well," he said at last, "if we're going to be living together, I guess we should set some ground rules." Qilari grinned. "Excellent. My first rule, No pants in the nest. Aiden groaned. This is going to be a disaster. She tilted her head. You mean adventure? Dating across dimensions. Aiden never imagined cross-cultural bonding would involve spending his mornings sharing breakfast with an alien who ate bioluminescent moss and stared at him like he was the one with the weird eating habits. You heat your food with radiation, Qilari said, hovering near the table with a leaf-wrapped bundle in her hands. Do humans have no respect for enzymes? It's called toasting, Aiden replied, biting into a protein bar. And it tastes better this way. She sniffed the air, wrinkling her small nose. You've just killed at least 7 beneficial microbial colonies. I'll try to live with the guilt. Their cohabitation had begun with awkward logistics. Qilari's nest in the corner of the room required absolute silence during her rest cycle, which lasted 3 hours and occurred 3 times a day. She meditated upside down on the ceiling, preferred speaking in bursts of poetic metaphor, and insisted on filling the room with music made from vibrating crystals. And yet, despite the confusion, Aiden found himself adjusting. She was weirdly endearing. Always curious, always moving, like a hummingbird with the sharp tongue of a professor. Today, she declared, we begin bonding activity number 1, a shared impression walk. Aiden arched an eyebrow. Is that a Qilari tradition? Of course. We experience a new location together. It must be unfamiliar to both of us, so we imprint on the memory simultaneously. It builds trust. That sounds oddly reasonable. It involves flying. There it was. 10 minutes later, he stood in a gravity-assisted lift, floating slightly off the floor as they rose to the Unity Spire's observation deck. Qilari buzzed beside him, wings vibrating with excitement. I've never seen a starfield with a human before, she said softly. They say you find meaning in the darkness. He glanced at her, surprised. That's poetic. Qilari are always poetic. It's how we remember things. The doors opened, revealing the deck's curved glass walls and the endless void of space beyond. Aiden stepped forward, breath catching slightly. Stars stretched in every direction, uncountable, ancient, silent. Behind them, Earth shimmered like a blue marble. Qilari floated beside him in silence for a long moment. Do you see it? She asked. What? The ache. The distance between lights. That's what humans carry inside. That's why I chose you. He didn't know how to respond to that. They sat together on a cushioned bench, watching the cosmos. Aiden found himself talking about his childhood dreams of becoming an astronaut, the years he spent studying alien languages, the loneliness of being the first human assigned to Concord's cultural integration program. Qilari listened with stillness, antennae twitching occasionally, eyes locked on his face. When he finished, she reached out and pressed her palm to his temple. A moment passed. Warmth bloomed in his mind, not invasive, not forceful. Just presence. Like a memory that wasn't quite his. A starfield with different colors. A sense of being young and curious. A hive of voices like music. I'm not reading you, she said softly. I'm sharing me. It's part of the bonding process. Aiden inhaled slowly. That was, yes, kind of beautiful. She smiled. See, you are ready. He looked at her carefully. You do realize that for humans, love isn't just chemical resonance or selected compatibility, right? It's messy. It takes time. Consent. Trust. I know. That's why we're doing this your way. Slowly. Clumsily. Hilariously. Aiden chuckled. You're making fun of me. Always. Over the next 2 days, they followed the Concord bonding schedule, cultural exchange meals, a poetry performance from a telepathic fungus entity, which gave Aiden a headache for 3 hours, and a co-engineering challenge where they had to build a communication device out of discarded parts. To his surprise, he enjoyed it. Not just the events, but the rhythm of being around her. And then came the incident. They were walking through the station's public promenade when a large, scaled alien from the TARS consortium blocked their path. He sneered down at Qilari. Look at this, the Tarsk grunted. A human with a flying bug. Thought your kind had standards. Aiden's expression turned cold. Step aside. The Tarsk laughed. What's it do? Chirp lullabies while you cry. Before he could react, Qilari darted between them, wings flaring. He doesn't cry. He dreams. There's a difference. Aiden stepped in front of her. Last warning. Move. The Tarsk hesitated, then backed off with a growl. Keep your pet on a leash. They left in silence, Aiden's hands still clenched. Thank you, Qilari said quietly once they were alone. For standing with me. I didn't like how he looked at you. You cared. He looked at her. Of course I did. Her wings fluttered slightly. That matters more to me than any protocol. In that moment, he realized something had changed. This wasn't just diplomacy. It was becoming something else. Something real. The bonded and the betrayed. The change was subtle at first. Qilari's colors dimmed. Her usually vibrant wings fluttered unevenly. She began to sleep longer, speak less. The once playful banter between her and Aiden gave way to long silences, her antennae drooping as if something inside her had gone out of tune. Aiden noticed, of course. He was trained to observe cultural nuance, but this was different. This was personal. Are you okay? He asked one evening, kneeling beside her nest. She didn't lift her head. You've barely eaten. She exhaled a faint trill. I can't feel the resonance anymore. Aiden frowned. What does that mean? She turned to him slowly. It means my empathic link is weakening. The bond we formed, it's fading. Being unraveled. Aiden sat back, heart hammering. Can that happen naturally? No, she said softly. It can't. That night, he ran diagnostics on her medical data, only to find her neural signature irregular. Her biotelemetry showed signs of an inhibitor compound in her system. Foreign. Synthetic. Designed to suppress Qilari empathic channels. Poison. He stormed into the Concord medical wing, datapad in hand. She's been targeted. Someone tried to sever her empathic field. This wasn't an accident. The attending Concord physician, a crystalline being named Rajin, reviewed the data silently. Then nodded once. You are correct. This is deliberate. Then help her. We can attempt to purge the compound, Rajin replied. But the process is dangerous. She may not survive the procedure. Aiden didn't hesitate. She'd rather die trying than fade away. Qilari was taken to isolation. Her small form rested on a bed of resonance crystals while machines hummed and alien lights flickered across her body. Aiden wasn't allowed inside during the procedure, so he waited. And waited. Hours passed. Then a full day. He recorded a message. He didn't mean to, but the words came out. Recording. Personal log. Aiden Locke. Timestamp. 312 Galactic Standard. I don't know if you'll hear this, Qilari. Maybe you won't wake up. But if you do, I need you to know that I didn't see this coming. You snuck up on me with your brightness, your honesty, your absurd rules about socks in the nest. I thought this was just diplomacy. I thought I could stay detached. I was wrong. You made me feel, not just for you, but for this entire insane idea, that species can connect, really connect, beyond politics or treaties. You were the first to see me, and I see you too. If you come back, I swear, I'll make this more than a protocol. I'll make it real. End recording. The Concord Council convened in emergency session the next day. The poisoning of a diplomatic pair under Mate Protocol Zeta 9 was more than sabotage, it was a declaration. Intelligence agents traced the compound back to a splinter faction within the Concord's Xeno-separatist opposition. Their goal, to collapse the bonding program by proving it led to emotional vulnerability. Aiden didn't care about the politics. He only cared that Qilari was still unconscious, her vital signs weak, her bond with him flickering like a dying signal. And then, on the second night, something happened. He was sitting in her room, exhausted, when the resonance crystals around her nest suddenly pulsed with soft light. Her wings twitched. She stirred. Aiden. Her voice was barely audible. He rushed to her side. I'm here. Her eyes fluttered open, dim at first, then brightening. She reached out, fingers brushing his cheek. I saw your memory. The message. You made me feel again. Aiden blinked back tears. You scared me. I know. But fear is part of the resonance. It makes the connection real. She sat up slowly, her strength returning bit by bit. They tried to break us. He nodded. They failed. Later that night, the council summoned them both. Qilari stood beside Aiden, her wings fully aglow once more, her presence calm but undeniable. The bond held, Aiden told the council. Even under sabotage. That should tell you everything. And it did. The council ruled in their favor. The bonding program would not only continue, it would expand. Qilari and Aiden were now more than a diplomatic success story. They were living proof. Love, the final protocol. The Unity Spire was quiet as dawn broke over the artificial horizon of the station's biosphere chamber. Pale light shimmered over a garden built from dozens of species' homeworlds, a symbol of coexistence, grown in fragile balance. Aiden sat cross-legged on a stone beside a shallow stream, running a fingertip through the water. He heard the soft flutter of wings behind him before she spoke. "You're meditating. That's new." He glanced back, smiled. "You've been a bad influence." Qilari settled beside him, wings folding neatly. She wore a ceremonial wrap of woven iridescent threads, formal attire in Qilari culture. "Today's the declaration. Are you ready?" "No." "Good," she said. "That means you're doing it right." They sat in silence a moment, the kind they had come to share often, filled with meaning, not absence. The sabotage attempt had bound them tighter. Since then, Aiden had felt the resonance between them deepen. There were fewer translations needed. Fewer words, even. Just presence. Still, today felt different. Today, they would present themselves not just as a bonded pair, but as an interspecies precedent. The first officially recognized human-Qilari emotional union in Concord history. More than science, more than strategy, this was personal diplomacy. And it came with a cost. "If we do this," Aiden said, "there's no more separation between our lives and our roles. We stop being just people and start being symbols." "Symbols matter," Qilari replied softly. "But only if they're honest." He looked at her. "Are we?" She didn't hesitate. Completely. Later that cycle, in the Concord Hall of Union, hundreds gathered, ambassadors, scholars, xenologists, and envoys from 39 species. Aiden stood in a simple Navy uniform. Qilari hovered beside him, radiant and unflinching. A council member, an ancient being of gaseous intellect and glowing eyes, spoke first. "Dr. Locke, Qilari of Qilari Nest Prime. You are here to finalize Mate Protocol Zeta 9. If you proceed, your bond becomes permanent under Concord Charter, with shared responsibilities and diplomatic unity rights. You understand this binds you not just to each other, but to the future of cross-species relational ethics." Aiden nodded. "I understand." Qilari bowed her head. "So do I." "Then speak your declaration." Qilari stepped forward first, voice clear and musical. "In the weave of stars, I found you, a voice of logic, of quiet courage. I saw the ache behind your eyes and the softness in your solitude. You did not ask to be chosen. But you chose me, in every moment after. I give you my resonance." Then Aiden. "I came to study the unknown. But I found you instead. You taught me that understanding isn't knowledge, it's trust. You challenged me, comforted me, fought for me. You made me more human by being completely alien. I give you my faith." The council paused. A ripple of resonance passed through the crowd. Empathic species picked up on it first. There was no denying it. The bond was authentic. "Bond registered," the counselor said. "Protocol Zeta 9 is now Codex Zeta Prime. You are officially declared first pair." Applause thundered. Some clapped, others pulsed light, or released pollen, or echoed vocal harmonics. It was chaos. It was perfect. Later, in their quarters, Aiden slumped onto the couch. "That was the most intense public speaking I've ever done." "You did well," Qilari said, curling up beside him. "No one's ever quoted Qilari vow rhythm so cleanly." "You didn't tell me it was in rhyme. I wanted it to be a surprise." They laughed, soft and exhausted. Then, in the quiet, Aiden reached out and took her hand. Her skin was warm and faintly glowing. "So what happens now?" he asked.
"Now."
She looked up at him. "Now we live. We continue. We mess it up, and fix it, and learn. Just like everyone else." He nodded. "Together. Always." Outside, the stars burned on, distant, infinite, and silent. But within that silence, something new had begun. A partnership born of difference. A bond forged not through similarity, but through choice. Humanity's great leap forward hadn't come from weapons, technology, or conquest. It came from one word: love.